It's Nikko, Nikko. It's Nikko, Nikko. It's the Nikko Show. I'm ready. It's Nikko, Nikko. Y'all start the Nikko Show now. It's Nikko, Nikko. Nikko forever coming. Nikko forever coming.
Welcome to the Nikko Show. Today I have my friend Darius here with me so we can shed light on Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. And today we're going to talk about some things that happened in our life that shaped us and helped made us who we are today. So I'm going to let you start out.
Okay. So, like you said, my name is Darius from Memphis, Tennessee. Y'all want to follow me, _Cocoa Butter Brown. Don't forget the A in the Cocoa. But for me, one of the things that mentally messed with me a lot when I was younger. So a lot of people, when I talk to them, I always tell them that my pops was blind for most of our lives, and so a lot of things we had to pick up on. You know what I'm saying? Like we had to learn. You know what I'm saying, on our own. We walked everywhere. You know what I'm saying? We because he couldn't teach us how to drive. We had to what I'm saying, learn the basic things of survival. We learn how to survive, you know what I'm saying? And but one of the things that always kind of messed with me, my pop said one time to me, he was like, we was talking, and he was just like, man, what, would you ever have surgery or anything like that to let them work on your eyes and see if they can fix your sight? And he was like, nah, I don't, really trust, them to do anything to me and X, Y, Z. And in my mind, as young as I was thinking in my head, like, man, why wouldn't you want to see how, beautiful your kids are or how we look? And growing up, I always saw, people who had their fathers, out doing stuff with them and, teaching them how to drive, teaching them X, Y, and Z. And I was like, damn, my pops can't, really do that to me. But in the process of doing it, as I got older, I started to realize, like, even though he couldn't teach us, those basic fundamental things, he taught us everything else we needed to know. So when, when you look at a lot of, like my siblings and stuff like that, you can put us in any situation and we'll survive. We know how to survive. Like, he taught us how, he still taught us how to fight, how to fend for ourselves, to protect ourselves. He taught us just mental things, a lot of mental things that as we grew up that you shouldn't be, just because you handicapped in one way, don't let that define, who you could be and how you could build yourself up. And the one thing that always got to me too was like when we go out and we walk different places with them, people always looked at them. You know what I'm saying? They be like, damn, and me as a kid, I'm looking like, man, why everybody staring at my pops
Will definitely do something to you.
Yeah, and I didn't understand it. For the most part, they just probably it wasn't normal to see a blind man just walking around and having a kid with them, and I'm just looking like this is like somebody stare at you all day. You like, man, what you staring at? You know what I'm saying? But most of the time, that person probably want to know more information about it. They just probably not that informed about what's going on in a situation like that. And for me, it was one of those things that kind of like, it just mentally did something to me growing up. I was just like, man, I hate people staring at me. I hate, what I'm saying, like, don't stare at me. Like, come up to me, and if you want to know something, just come to me and talk to me. So what it did for me was, instead of me waiting for that person to come talk to me, I started becoming that social person. Okay. Where every time you see me out, I'm always the life of the party, because I don't want to give a person a chance to be like, man, like, staring at me and take me back to my childhood. Like, why you staring at me? And then now I got this anger towards you because you're doing this. So I was like, you know what? If I become open to that person and just, be the life of the party, laugh, they'll look at me and be like, oh, that's a cool person. I can chat with him. I can do X, Y, and Z. So I think that was one of the things that conditioned me a little bit mentally, changing my mindset of growing up and being like, man, when people look at you or they're staring at you, it doesn't mean that they, you know what I'm saying, have a problem with you. They just might want to know more about you, but everybody's not a people's person, so they don't know how to approach you. So if you give them if you give them that outlet to be able to come up to you, to feel comfortable with coming up to you, rather, I should say, then it makes it easier for them to have those conversations with you and be like, "How are you?" Because most of the time we judge books by the cover. We see what we see on the surface, but we don't know what's deep in. So I was like, man, what if I just allow myself to be that social person and be like, if they feel more comfortable, then they come up to me and be like, man, you know what I'm saying, I thought this about you, but then when I got to know you, I now know X, Y, and Z for you. And so I think that was one of the things mentally that I had to learn growing up, that, you know what I'm saying, even though a person is, you know what I'm saying, may look at you one way or see you as this way, not knowing you, if you allow them, you know what I'm saying, that opportunity to get to know you and not be so, you know what I'm saying, because we all judge. You know what I'm saying, that's something that we all do, you know what I'm saying, that subconsciously we might do it without, you know what I'm saying, having that first conversation with that person. And sometimes we have to allow those outlets to happen. Where we can, you know what I'm saying, allow those lanes, like your lane to cross from my lane. And then at that point, we'll be like, man, those perceptions we may have had about each other, we can dead those and be like, well, I thought this one way about you by looking at you, but now I see, you're a completely different person. Yeah.
But there's so many things, that people go through and we go through in life that kind of just make us who we are. Is there anything else that you wanted to, before I start, that you wanted to talk about, like, to kind of help make you who you are today? Kind of the things that kind of really messed with you.
So one other thing that I would definitely talk. I mean, we want to say that kind of shaped me into to who I am too is so when I was younger too. One of the things that happened to me, growing up in Memphis it's hard. You know what I'm saying? It's not a fairy tale. You know what I'm saying?
About it. The same thing with Chicago.
Yeah, you understand that.
Yes.
You have those cities that is just that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? And everybody knows when you say that's where you're from, people instantly know you got a story behind it.
Right.
And so, which I feel like everybody has a story, but some people's stories are more, you know what I'm saying, harder than other people's, or more in depth than other people, I could say. So when I was growing up, when I was younger, I lost my oldest brother to violence in Memphis. Of course, he was murdered, and so I was real close to him because I was the youngest out of all the boys. It was 4 of us, and so when he was murdered, you know what I'm saying, like it took a toll. It really hit me because he was murdered on Christmas Eve. We found out on Christmas Eve. You know what I'm saying? Right before Christmas. And as a kid, Christmas is supposed to be one of the happiest times of your life. Not only you don't really understand this, kids. The only thing you know is Santa Claus presents and food. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing that you know. That's what you associate Christmas with. You don't really get the whole birth of Jesus and all this stuff. As you get older, you start to realize why you was participating in those pageants, little stuff like that. So then, when it happened, for me, everybody around me, I didn't want to believe it. You know what I'm saying? I just couldn't believe it. My brother had been taken away from me, and it didn't dawn on me until Christmas actually came, and I didn't see him walk through the door. Every year for Christmas, you know what I'm saying, would come, he'd be there, and that's what really, you know what I'm saying, hit me. So
how old were you?
I was 6, 5 and 1 on 6.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying, years old. So very tender age. You know what I'm saying? It was a very young age to understand what anything was going on. And so, and for it to happen during that time, you know what I'm saying, it was even more of a shock. And so, how everybody says, you ain't really get to say goodbye. You ain't really get. Only thing I remember was the last time I was with him, and the last thing I did. You know what I'm saying? I saw everybody around the house crying and stuff like that, and I'm like, what y'all crying for? Like, he's gonna be here tomorrow. Like, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? And so I remember the next day, you know what I'm saying, Christmas hit, And then me and another one of my brothers who was just praying. He was praying to God and just asking him to protect William, you know what I'm saying, and hoping everything, you know what I'm saying, is okay with everybody else. And I just remember bawling out and crying. And my brother was like, man, you know what I'm saying, like, we cried our tears yesterday, but we were both young, and everybody cried then, but we didn't know that everybody was still grieving. And you know what I'm saying, everybody wish everybody was, but it was just me and him. He was like, you know, it's over with now, you know what I'm saying? And I was just like, man, and to me, growing up, I was just like, man, how do you deal, you know what I'm saying? It's never a time limit on when you grieve. You know what I'm saying? But as kids, we were like, oh, we cried yesterday. Now it's time to move on past it. We, you know, foolishly as little kids. And so after that happened, fast forward a couple of years later, my oldest brother, who was the oldest now, he ran away from home. And so when he ran away from home, it was like mentally I started feeling like, man, like my family, you know what I'm saying, like why everybody leaving us? You know what I'm saying? My big brother left, you know what I'm saying, he was murdered, he was taken away from us. Then my oldest brother now, you know what I'm saying, who I latched to at this point, he ran away from home because of different things that was going on within, you know, the family or whatever. And he was 15 years old, and I'm like, man, and he left and moved in essentially with it was a family that was at our church. And it was kind of like, man, I was looking like, you would see him at church and you'd be like, man, he's with this family. And I'm like, damn, you know what I'm saying? Like, he got a whole nother family now. How can you forget about us? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm looking at it like, you know what I'm saying? You just act like you're not even my brother no more. And then this family acting like you they brother now. Like, you know what I'm saying? You supposed to be my spouse. So what it did for me at that time was I always hated, you know what I'm saying, goodbyes, like saying goodbye. So, and it's so crazy, man. I would watch TV shows. And you know when shows got to like their final season and they was getting ready to say goodbye, I wouldn't watch those seasons. I watch everything while they was in that moment. And it sounds so crazy, man. It sounds so crazy. To this day, when they get to it, like Martin or Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, you know what I'm saying? I will not watch the final season because I hate for them to say, it's like the family is separating from each other, you know what I'm saying? Because you think about in Martin and Fresh Prince, those two of my favorite shows, but they so family oriented. Friends are with each other, you know what I'm saying, doing all that. But the last season, you know what I'm saying, Will stays in LA, but Uncle Phil and all of them move away to Philly and all this stuff. Like they move from each other.
You know, I don't think I've ever seen that.
Yeah, if you go and watch the sitcoms, just like with Martin, like Martin, yeah, they go to LA, yeah, but you know what I'm saying, and it's like them separate. And it's like whenever it's a family, you know what I'm saying, oriented show or anything like that, just having that family feel, I hate seeing those last seasons because it brings me back to my family kind of like feeling like they broke up. You know what I'm saying? Or the people that I held so deep and close in my life, they left and broke up. And so, but as I got older, man, one of the things that I think that helped me, you know what I'm saying, like deal with a lot of that was, you know, playing sports. And you know, when we play in sports, you kind of build that family with those teammates and stuff like that. And I think that was one of the things that helped me kind of, I guess you could say, disguise the feelings that I was having with my family leaving. I was like, oh, well, you know what? I'm creating this new family with these teammates. We going through the trenches together. We building this brotherhood because all I know is I see them at school. We kicking it with each other. Then after school, you know what I'm saying, we playing ball and doing X, Y, and Z. And then year round, we with each other with AAU tournaments. You know, you with them the majority of your life and you building that friendship. And then through that, you calling yours, you know what I'm saying, you be like, oh, this is my brother, you know what I'm saying, like, you know what I'm saying, I got love for him, like, we go to war with each other, you know what I'm saying, X, Y, Z, and it created those family, and I think that allowed me to really, you know what I'm saying, propel into being able to accept the fact that, you know what, your brother, you know what I'm saying, was murdered, and, you know what I'm saying, but that doesn't mean that he left you, you know what I'm saying, you still have those memories, because when I was going through those situations with playing ball, I noticed that every year, you know what I'm saying, you think about it, is you come in as a freshman maybe, right? Those seniors have to go on, but they go, you know what I'm saying, you essentially think they going on to better and bigger and better places.
Right.
So in my mind, I was like, okay, they going on to bigger and better places. My brother that was murdered, he went on to a better place. You know what I'm saying? My brother that ran away, the situation at home was kind of like real, you know what I'm saying, messed up. So he didn't necessarily create a new, you know what I'm saying, family with those people. He just probably went on to find something better that was for him, which it came full circle because he came back, you know what I'm saying, not came back home, but he still was, you know what I'm saying, in our lives and was coming around a lot more. And he was able to salvage their relationship with, you know what I'm saying, it was him and my dad was at odds for a long, but they were able to salvage their relationship like when he left. And then after years he came back, they were able to salvage their relationship. So in my mind, I was like, well, you know, he left. Whatever happened, but then he was able to come back now, and they're at a better place. And I associated that with, you know what I'm saying, playing sports and stuff like that. I was like, man, you know what I'm saying, these relationships, some of the, you know, older people, they left and had bad relationships with the coaches, you know, X, Y, Z, but they came back later and, you know what I'm saying, and be like, man, you know, I appreciate, you know, you for doing this, you for doing. So I think those lessons for me was you know what I'm saying, like the things that kind of shaped me a little bit better with dealing with those, you know what I'm saying, losses or those people exiting out of my life. Was sports kind of created that avenue for me to recreate, you know what I'm saying, like not necessarily feeling like they just was lost or those people left, but you just realizing that they just moved on to bigger and, you know what I'm saying, bigger and better things, or had to take different avenues, and then they came back, or, you know what I'm saying, they necessarily didn't just leave you, but they just had to go on and pursue their own thing, or pursue different avenues of what they wanted to create out of life or whatever. So I mean, you know, it was just a quick story of how, you know what I'm saying, I think it shaped is things that I did, but I'm still kind of now still being able to look at those shows and, you know what I'm saying, maybe start to look at those last episodes and stuff like that, but it still kind of hit me where I have a hard time with dealing with those. I mean, with looking at those and dealing with it.
Have you ever went to therapy?
Mm-mm.
Have you ever thought about it?
I have thought about it, man. I would say, man, more so now, I've thought about it a little bit more, and
Definitely think you should think about it.
think about it a little longer.
Because I haven't been going as faithfully as I should.
Mm.
But from having the experience is definitely something that can help you a lot.
Mm.
And kind of going into my story.
Right.
I know this might sound crazy, but when I was younger, I was bullied.
Okay.
And it kind of messed with my self-esteem heavily. You know, I'm this tall guy. You know, I went to this performance arts high school, so I had talent.
Right.
And not saying nobody else was talented or anything like that, but I think people saw that or saw something in me and, you know, wanted to tear that down.
Mm.
You know, kids is mean as hell.
Man, they are.
Mean as hell. And some adults mean too.
Mm-hmm.
People just humans in general.
Mm-hmm.
And with me having that self-esteem, it kind of helped me, or not help me. It hurt me in terms of dating.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't think I was, you know, attractive. I thought I was ugly for the longest.
Right.
And there will be certain people, or there'll be multiple people that would, you know, think I'm attractive, but the way they would show it would be horrible.
Right.
They would talk about me. They would call me out my name, treat me all types of ways. So it was just like, So I was like, I don't know what the hell is going on.
Right.
And moving forward from that, when I started to gain some friendships that I would deem to be close friendships, and I had, I think, like 2 of these from 2 different people. One when I was in high school, and then one in college. I call them best friend. I guess I'll say that.
Right.
And they were the ones that, you know, everybody talked to. Or they would tell me all their stories about what they used to do or what they do, and they would go out with this person and go out with this person. I would just sit there like, Like, oh my God, this is what I want to do. I want to be out here having fun, I guess. But honestly, it's so weird because I know they weren't happy, and I wanted to have this standard that I thought was, mess around with this person, mess around with that person, having all these people on my roster,
Right.
and just the song.
Right.
And I really, for the longest, I thought I was the ugly best friend. Right. The one that you come around, that you should be glad that you with them, and bringing them around everybody. But for my most recent one that was in college, I felt like we were frenemies, like we were in competition. I never felt like, and even with I'll say the one in high school too, I never felt that they really congratulated me or made me feel good about myself. And I'm not saying that, in a friendship you have to make your friend feel a certain type of way. But if you are friends with somebody, or the people that you have around you, they should celebrate you.
Right.
They should lift you up. And I feel that I've done that with them multiple times, and I never felt that come back to me. And then you have the second friend. They kind of attracted to you, but kind of act like they said it's the same thing that came just all through high school. People attracted to you, but they don't want to act like it's so strange to be attracted to Nicholas.
Right.
It's just so weird. It's like, it's other people out in the world, but I ain't one of them, So I just, for a very long time, it was hard for me to really get a grasp on who I was and what I wanted to do and what I wanted to be. And being with everybody ain't it.
Right.
I'll tell you that now.
Right.
But I want to also dig a little bit in another recent situation that I dealt with. One thing I do with my friendships is I hold a lot of stuff in.
Right.
I don't really tell people how I feel about them because I'm a person, I don't really get upset about a lot of things, and if I get upset about it, I won't say anything. I'll just let it go because I don't harp on, I don't hold grudges. Sagittarius, I know me, I'm a carefree person.
Right.
So I don't really necessarily harp on things too much unless it really, really, really bothers me. And in a lot of my friendships, motherfucking have a problem telling me about myself. Okay? And it became, I really got to a breaking point. I'm kind of move all over the place. To now, I don't want to hear that shit. I'm getting older. I'm an adult. I'm going to do what I want to do. And I said what I said. And I'm not changing. I'm going to do what I want to do. And I wanted to be around so many people all the time. I wanted to be the party person. I was always the social person. Want to be around everybody. I don't want to be around nobody because I don't need the negative energy, especially if I'm around a bunch of people that are hypocrites. So back to this not current situation, but recent situation. So I had these group of friends, right? And two of them were in this situationship. And it's a girl and a boy, real close with the guy, real close with the girl. Met the girl before I met the guy. Real cool. But I always felt, like I said, I never really told her about herself because I never really wanted no issue. And I kind of knew that if I did, they would have a long list of what I don't like about you. And it's just like, it's going to overshadow.
Let me intervene real quick. When it's just a question that I want to ask. When you say you dealing with the girl and the boy, but you met the girl first, and then you met them. So I'm guessing you met the male through her, right?
No, I did not actually.
Okay.
I knew of him because I had a situationship, but I met him through an organization that he joined. He joined my organization.
So y'all consider yourself friends, or
Yeah, we were brothers. We was cool.
What did that put you with? Go ahead.
Let me finish. You can see what I'm saying.
Right. Go ahead.
So it was a situation where we wasn't ready to commit. right? And the people in the friend group, and me included, were always in the mix, in the middle of every situation, right? Not because he really wanted to do it, it's because more of she wanted to do it. And I was cool with it because I thought they were for each other, right? And I wanted to help them be with each other.
Right.
But I feel like I never crossed the boundaries, you know, over one person over other person.
Right.
I stayed neutral at the same time, but I still wanted to help them be together. And I ended up moving in with the young lady.
Okay.
And there was this something that we can't really describe.
Right.
But I really felt like I don't even want to say it was jealousy of between me and his relationship, but it kind of almost seemed like that because there were just events that happened that you would think that, and it was weird because it's like, you know, we doing business, we brothers, we best friends. I really thought this motherfucker was gonna be. I was really longing for a guy because I always have female friends, but I always wanted a guy friend that I could really call my brother, my best friend.
Right.
Brought them, the guy friend, another guy friend home. You know, me and my family. We took Chicago. We, you know, had a good time and all this stuff like that. But moving the story forward, living in that house, and you know, ladies like things a certain way, and I didn't notice that. And I think I moved in with her because I wanted to learn how it was to, you know, live with a young lady. And I didn't feel at home. I'll say that. There were a lot of things that, you know, just because she already stayed in an apartment, you know, apartments. You renewed your lease, and you already been there, then somebody else moved in. So I moved in, and I just never really stated what I liked and what I didn't like. Because I didn't want to have any conflict.
Right.
So then, fast forward, because I don't want to go too long on this. Fast forward, we wanted to do a team because we just was in our business at a breaking point in our business. We like, we don't know what we want to do. So we got a team, and we decided that we wanted everybody, all the friend to be a part of the team, which was not a good idea because you never should be, do that. And I really seemed like the villain. You know, I because there were certain things I'm like, at the end of the day, this is me and his business, right? So, I mean, we definitely want to hear your input, but they was mad where you don't want us to help you because this is and that, and then you got stuff going on at home. We just can't really get there, but it didn't really boil over. We did have one breaking point, and it smoothed down because I wanted to keep the peace. I kind of kept to myself for a while, but it was just like I was telling him I don't think we should do, you know, keep them in everybody, not just her, everybody doing the team because it's just not working. But he wanted to do it because he's like, we already asked these people to do the team, and some of the people in the team was like, no, I don't think we should do this. But needless to say, it was just too much. And I felt like I wasn't even her friend no more. It was like every time the young lady messaged me, it was always an issue, it was always a problem. I used to cook for them, you know, I love to cook.
Right.
So I used to cook for them, feed them, and it would be like, you ain't never asked me how my day is, we staying together, you know, what's going on with you, let's talk, let's do this. And then every time we would have a situation, I'll be the first one to apologize, even though I don't feel like I'm always the one that's wrong. But I'll be apologetic. And I didn't feel like she was apologetic. So it got to the point where we weren't speaking at all.
And y'all were still standing, but y'all were standing together.
Yes. And he was like, I want you to make sure you respect her and, excuse me, all of this. And I'm like, when have I really disrespected her? Like, I ain't never called out her name. I ain't never talked about her crazy for real. I mean, I tell you, this is some fucked up shit I did. So we had an issue about the AC, and you know how the V they got them AC. I took that bitch off the wall. I did, and I say I would definitely do it again because at that point I felt like this is my house too.
All right.
So I made a statement, and it might not have been the best way to do that, but I got tired of feeling like I wasn't in my own home. You got everything, all this stuff in your closet, the shared spaces, and all this, and I really said nothing. And this is just, you like this way and that way, and it was just too much. But moving along, you want me to respect. This girl to call me out my name, all types of shit. Man, we didn't, saved up money to take people out of town so we can do something for our business, so they can be a part and stuff like that. It's just like, you just really just don't care. That's what it felt like. But I don't want to say I'm all right either, because I know I have some fault in the situation. I probably could have handled some things better, but I know I never really disrespected this girl.
Right. Do you think that the whole concept of missing business with, like with friends, it holds true? Because
for sure.
Because when I think about, just hearing your story, I've never heard a good story end with somebody saying that they started, any type of business or any type of business venture with a friend. It always started off good. Everything always started off good, but somewhere in between those lanes, that timeline, those lanes start to cross. Something always happened where, it divert what y'all actually start, what you actually started it for. Like, what was the whole reason? Like, this is what we started it for. Like, this is what our dream was, our idea was of doing this. But then something diverted, and then it always end up, bad. Right. And that's why they always say, like, I guess that's, it's the whole thing. You say, you can't miss business with pleasure, or you can't miss business with friendship, because it never ends well.
And I think what happened is we were good.
Mm-hmm.
There were some things that we could have done better, but I think we probably would have lasted a little bit longer, or we could have lasted if we didn't add everybody else into it.
That's why I figured, because and that's why I was asking, like, because with you and her having it, and then you adding that third person, whether he be a boyfriend, he was a relative, whatever the case may be, when you start adding those different entities into those situations, because they have their own agenda too, and they have their own ideas, and they have X one. Because I guarantee that whatever y'all had going on, when he got added into that mix, he probably had his own ideas about what he felt should be like. Why you doing this, or why is you letting this happen? You know what I'm saying? Could have been feeding anything into her head, and then that's what she comes back.
It was feeding her into his head. The guy was the business partner.
Okay.
Yeah, and moving along, because I don't want to take too long on this,
right?
Because people be thinking of people's person. Nobody. This is my truth, and I gotta say what I got to say. I don't want to say when it comes to my friendships, I put people. Yeah, I'll say that. I put people on a pedestal, right? I hold them to a high standard. I hold everybody to a really high standard, and I feel like because I did that, the friend group. I was with them every day, all day. And, I got to that breaking point, and then we separated. It got real big. Nobody fought or anything like that. But, she was telling people that I hit her, and I did all types of shit. And it's just nothing from my nature. I ain't that type of nigga. But I'm just like, he did not even fight for me. I'm not even trying to be like that, but it's just like, and this is what mama told me. And it's so funny, but it's true. And when somebody screwing, and I don't know what the situation, I don't want to say they're screwing, but it's just giving an example or like an overview. Whoever you screwing is going to take precedence over whoever. No matter whatever it is, who was right or wrong. And it's so true, because it was like I felt like I was stabbed in the back. I thought that maybe, see, she cool, she all right, and then come talk to me and see, let's just try to settle this, even if we stop the business. Because people were saying, he was saying to the other friend group, I want to stop the business, didn't tell me nothing. So I had to find out. It was a lot of stuff that was unnecessary, shady, and it wasn't cool. And I got to the point to where time had passed, we had not spoken, and then other people from the friend group, we started to part, and I was working at the weekend. I remember one night, And I'm getting the conclusion to my story, to why I want to talk about this, because I didn't know it affected me as much as it did. I was going back home to Chicago, and I was going to the airport, but I got off at the weekend at the club. I don't know if y'all know about the weekend. It's a lounge here in Nashville. And I got off 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And you know, when you work in the club, you get a little lit. You know what I'm saying? You get a little lit. And, but no, seriously, I left, and I was just thinking about everything. And not just the situation, just everything in my life. I had a moment. And then that moment turned into a panic attack. Like, I literally had a mental breakdown. And I've never experienced anything like that in my life. Like, I was crying uncontrollably, and I couldn't breathe. I don't want to say I really felt I was going to die, but if I did not park my car and breathe and call my friend, shout out to my friend Marche, because she was the only person to answer the phone, because I didn't know what was going on with my body. It really messed me up. And I really felt like moving forward with my friendships now, I don't want to argue. I don't want to fight. I don't want to do that. No. I'd rather just say bye-bye. Because, and I don't know if that girl really messed me up. Because people be like, I'm not her. I know you're not her. But it's just, if I see something that's close to
those traits,
I cannot. Because it really, like, I used to get stomach pains when this girl used to message me. Right. And this is serious. And I had to talk to my therapist. He was like, you know, it's serious. Like, it's definitely something that you've been affected by. And mentally, I didn't know that I was really under. Like, I was literally grasping for air. Like, I was drowning in a damn sea. That's how I was going through all that stuff. When it was going on after, I had multiple days crying in my car. And it wasn't because of the separation. It's because how everything happened. Right. And it was like, I felt everything was unfair. And I've been through some stuff. You know, because I've been bullied growing up. I've never experienced a breakdown like this, ever. So I didn't understand, you know, what happened and why it happened. And, you know, I'm doing a lot better. And I'm glad I talk about it and get it out and, you know, just be honest about it. Because I didn't tell a lot of people. For a long time, I stopped talking to a lot of people because I felt like the whole world was against me.
It's the thing about it, I think with the, what it could be too is like, if somebody else would hear that story, and maybe you not, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? This is just me fetching and guessing. Maybe what you telling that story, the reason why you probably didn't tell it, you know what I'm saying, for so long or anything like that, maybe people, you know, hearing that would be like, oh, come on, fool, you just dealing with, that was just a female, her tendencies, and you know what I'm saying, stuff like that, and not really seeing that, like,
it was much deeper. It was
it was
years of
and
stuff.
that's what it goes back to when we were talking earlier, that we were, as men, we're told to stuff like that. We just need to brush out. We just need to throw it. We don't have to. You know what I'm saying? That's not something that, you know what I'm saying, we really need to voice our opinion on. You just brush that off and just throw it away and then just move on. Right. But with doing that, you like, man, you really just, you know what I'm saying, like covering a wound that's not really healed. And you have to, you know what I'm saying, allow yourself to heal from it, because we deal with so many different things. You know what I'm saying? Like that one, even if it was like, let's just say, hypothetically, we minimize that issue that you had, right? We just say, okay, it was just a small thing to a giant. It wasn't nothing that big. But when you move forward and you encounter all these other things, and then those other things start to compile on that one small thing, and then you just adding on to it, that one small thing becomes so much bigger when,
because life don't stop.
Yeah, because it don't stop.
Situation.
Yeah, and if, let's say if it come full circle again, and you be like, that one small thing that you come back to, and you be like, now that one small thing has all these other things that you done endured in that time. So now you lashing out and making it, and it becomes so full blown. You be like, man, what if I would have just, established what it was right then, you know what I'm saying, talked about it, dealt with it, figured it out at that point, and then I, you know what I'm saying, prepared I got through it, and I prepared myself for the next situation. Because I always, a thing that I always tell myself moving forward now, I always be like, man, and it may be a crazy concept, but I always feel like when you go through a situation, right, you go through that situation, cry, hurt, feel whatever you go feel. Just feel whatever you go feel. But in the process of doing it, I always find a reason to smile. I always find a reason to laugh. I always find that reason to be happy, because what that does is it recharges you for whenever you experience that next thing. And then you have to be sad again. If you continuously going through situations and you only crying and you only beating yourself up, you draining yourself. You're not giving yourself that much energy to deal with that next situation. And that's something that I always tell myself. And when I talk to people, I be like, man, feel how you gonna feel about it. Go through those emotions, man. If you gotta cry, if you gotta feel sad, if you gotta just go outside and curse a million times, whatever, let it out. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you feel like you need to do, just go ahead and let it out. But in that process of doing it, find a reason to smile, find a reason to laugh, find a reason to refuel yourself. So whenever because you know whatever's coming next is gonna come. It's gonna hit you. It's go we may be programmed to tell ourselves that, man, if I can just get through this, I'll be all right. When theoretically, when you get through that, you go experience something maybe 10 times worse than what you even went through. And it's just God teaching, you know what I'm saying, like taking you through that to either teach you how to trust Him a little bit more, or teach you how to get through all of those experiences to make you a lot more, you know what I'm saying, stronger, and prepare you for what He got, you know what I'm saying, planned for you. So I always tell myself, like, what I've learned to tell myself, or to condition myself to do, is no matter what I'm going through, no matter what I've experienced, I always try to, you know what I'm saying, find a reason to smile, find a reason to, but not even smile, but just find a reason to refuel yourself, to give yourself that energy, that necessary energy that you're going to need to cry the next time you need to cry. You know what I'm saying? To let out whatever you're going to need to let out, because if you go through each situation and you crying and you feeling down, and then you go through the next situation, you crying and you feeling down, but in between those situations, you ain't allowing yourself to be happy about something, and mentally, where are you? You know what I'm saying? You just continuing to beat yourself down, and beat yourself down, and you dig in that hole, and you're not finding a way to, you know what I'm saying, get out of it. But that's just, you know what I'm saying, like, that's why, you know what I'm saying, I feel like we, you know, as men, we have to learn to continue to tell the generation that's coming up, like, don't be afraid to feel how you feel about those situations. You know what I'm saying? Right. Don't be afraid to go through what you need to go through. You know what I'm saying? Emotionally, it's not a sign of weakness. A sign of weakness is trying to, you know what I'm saying, find a way not to deal with that issue. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? The strength of a man is to, you know, if one thing that I've learned, the strength of a man is allowing yourself to be vulnerable, because that's the true testament of who you really are.
And I love being vulnerable, because it's the truest self, right? It's the truest I can ever be of me.
Right. The rawest form of yourself.
I love being able to let my guard down. And it's hard. I can't really do that with my people. And I mean, it'll be good that you can be vulnerable with everybody, but you can't, because everybody don't mean you well.
Right.
And it's just like, people see that goodness. They see that goodness inside of you, and they try to tear that down. So it's like, that doesn't mean you're a perfect person. Okay, let's just say that you're not perfect.
Right.
But they see that raw, pure goodness inside of you, and they try to tear it down. And when they do it, and if you allow them to do it, it definitely can change you. And I definitely feel that I have been changed.
Right.
And I don't want to say it's for the better or for the worse, but I know, I feel like I've changed.
And I think I'm grateful for every situation I've ever been in because it's brought me to the person that I am today. I really started to, when I started being by myself, I really started to learn who I am and learn what I liked and didn't like. And I used to start hate. I used to be like, who can I call? Let's go outside, because I don't want to go outside by myself. I don't want to do stuff with myself. I want to have to be with somebody. But I take myself out to eat in a minute.
Being alone makes you strong.
Say that one more time.
Being alone makes you strong.
Like,
It does, man.
and I went for my 24th birthday. My grandmother loves Disney World. When she heard I want to go to Disney World, she was like, I want to go. I was like, I just want to go by myself because we usually do a family vacation, not every year, but often. And I just wanted to go by myself. I wanted to kind of plan other people to go, but when I figured out I want to go by myself, I was like, I need to do this. And I had such a good time. It was literally one of the best vacations I've ever had in my life.
Right.
Because I didn't have to worry about this person, that person. I just only worried about me.
Right.
People say, you a little selfish. I mean, I have been selfish for certain things, but I feel like in terms of really caring about who I am and what I am and what I want to do and where I want to be, I just started to really do that.
Right.
And it was definitely hard. You know, it's still hard.
Right.
You know, life don't get no easier.
Right. Right.
But I'm really, like I said, I'm glad I'm happy in the place that I am right now. Everything ain't perfect, but I'm definitely in a better place.
Right. Right. I mean, I think the end result of everything that, you know what I'm saying, we try to do is always find those, you know what I'm saying, like those best spaces for us to exist in and to be happy in, you know what I'm saying. And I think one thing that I've learned, you know, throughout my time in like journey is that if it makes you happy, man, if it's something that you feel, you know, extremely passionate about, then, you know what I'm saying, chase after it, reach for it. And, you know what I'm saying, if you don't be afraid to fail at it, because it's not necessarily failing at it, it's just you learning how to, you know what I'm saying, navigate through when you get back up and, you know what I'm saying, pick yourself back up. We all go experience those times where we feel low. I talked with a friend, a close friend of mine, and he, you know, was an Army vet, and he was just telling me how, you know what I'm saying, the stuff that he went through, and he, you know, he served 3 tours, and he was just telling me how, you know, the stuff that he seen and went through, and he, you know, went through that moment of wanting to commit suicide, and he felt like he was at his lowest point, and I was just like, man, I thought to myself, I was like, man, you don't necessarily, I told him, I was like, you don't necessarily have to feel like, man, just because you went through that, you got to experience it, because people are going through different stuff in their life where it's pulling them to that same place that you are. What you have to understand is that you're dealing with a mental, you know what I'm saying, you're dealing with mental illness. Your mental illness is just different because you went through what you went through. This person's mental illness is different because they went through what they went through. But the end result is that it's one and the same, because y'all still dealing with those issues of maybe wanting to take your life. You dealing with your reasoning behind it may be different, but at the same time, y'all, it's still the same. Y'all end result is you thinking of suicide. You thinking of, you know what I'm saying, they thinking of suicide. So it's not, you know what I'm saying, it's not that it's not different. It's different. Y'all journeys are different, but where y'all meeting at is the same. And so when you I guess when you think of that whole concept, it's just like we all go through different things. We all have to experience what we have to experience. But that don't mean that it takes us, you know what I'm saying, down a different, at the end result, it don't take us down a different lane. We still meet there. And at that point when we meet there, that's where we can come together as like, you know, males, to realize like, man, we all suffering from these issues. So let's talk about those. Like, let's bring this stuff to light. because if we continue to suppress it and be like, oh, well, we just gotta, we males, we just gotta wait it out. That's where the suicide rate starts to become, you know what I'm saying, with their forefront, because people are not expressing themselves, they're not talking about it. To this day, I don't think that if I not had that conversation with him, I'd be thinking in my head, where would he have been? You know what I'm saying? What would have, you know, potentially happened to him? Like, I've been with him at nights where we were together and he, you know what I'm saying, wanted to do X, Y, and Z. And I'm just like, man, I was glad I was there with him. But then I go back and think, be like, damn, you know what I'm saying? Like, I remember feeling, you know what I'm saying, that low. What was I feeling like? So I have to, you know what I'm saying, think to myself, he ain't crazy, you know what I'm saying? I have to realize, like, he's not crazy, because I felt, you know what I'm saying, that way, but I just didn't act out like he did.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's why I was saying, like, even though his experience may be different to get him to that point, and my experience was different to get that point, but we both got to that point where we, you know what I'm saying, wanted to maybe, you know what I'm saying, do this to each other or do that, you know what I'm saying, to ourselves or whatever. And I think when we have those are the conversations that we need to have more, and not be so judgmental, like you were saying, being judgmental about what led him to it. It doesn't matter what led him to that. We need to realize that both of us got to that point, and what can we do moving forward to make sure that we don't get there again. And that's the big. I mean, I don't claim to be the guru of mental health or anything like that. I'm still learning as I go. You know what I'm saying? But having these conversations, you know, having these talks like this, and having these conversations like then maybe the next time we do something like this, hopefully, you know, maybe more of us could, you know what I'm saying, sit down and have these talks and stuff like that. Because the outlet, so the one thing that I can say, like, having this outlet, I think is good, because a lot of people don't do therapy. A lot of people stray away from therapy. You know what I'm saying? Not to get off subject, but I would just remember a conversation having with a sibling of mine. They felt that therapy just wasn't necessary. It felt like that's what they told her. It was like, I don't think I need to do therapy. And we sitting there like, man, it's a lot of stuff we got to uncover. That we you know what I'm saying, we kept in the dark for so long. And, you know, people think they don't need, but maybe something like this could be their first step. Like, if they come into something like this and we have those talks and be like, man, you know what? Maybe I could, you know what I'm saying, go ahead and think about doing therapy.
And it's crazy because I didn't, my family, I won't say my entire family, but some people in my family didn't think that therapy, you know, was good or be needed. But when I started going, I definitely uncovered some things that I needed to uncover.
Mm-hmm.
And I stopped going, not on purpose, but it just happened. And I kind of regret doing that.
Right.
Because I was definitely starting to heal.
Mm-hmm.
And especially if y'all go to therapy, I'll tell you this now. Until you get to a point where you feel like you didn't kind of reach the breaking point to you're good, don't leave. Don't stop going. Because what it's going to do is put a Band-Aid on that wound, and it ain't going to heal. But when you go consistently, and we are not perfect, you know, life happens, things happen. But I'm just saying, you know, in you guys' situation, anybody else's situation, if you're able to go until you're able to feel that you have gotten where you need to be, stay there, and continue to go, because stopping is definitely not helpful. It ain't helpful. It's like working out, and you work out, and you start seeing some results.
Yep.
Then you stop. Then you go back to the old habits.
Right.
And you start seeing old you.
Right.
And you're like, damn, I just lost 5 pounds, and I just gained 10 more.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Going, you know, I don't tell them where I be at now.
Right.
Yeah.
So definitely keep going. and know that you're not alone in your situation. And the reason why and the goal that I wanted to do this episode, not just because it's men's mental health awareness month, but we all go through so much on a daily basis, and we never sit down and listen to other people and try to understand, what's really going on. And I think if we do that more and do stuff like this more, and it doesn't mean it has to be recorded or put out in the media,
Right.
just in the friend circles, really talk about the things that you go through and the things that you go through with each other, and try to understand everybody.
Right.
Don't be one-sided. I beg you, in your friendships, please don't be one-sided. Because I was in a lot of one-sided relationships where everybody was like beating me down, but I've never had a situation where I can just, well, I won't say never, because I'm starting to see something now, but both of us can really, talk, have a conversation, and we both express our feelings, and we both hear each other. Because people can close their ears and not want to hear, what they're doing to you, and they don't give a damn. Get away, run. I ain't trying to be funny, I'm just saying, run. Like I said earlier, you have to be around people that celebrate you. Not, he coming, he get on my nerves, or she do this. If you around people like that, then that's not the people for you. You have to definitely find a group of people, even if it's not a group of people, 1 or 2 people, because my dad, he said only got a handful of friends, and then he probably ain't that many. He don't fool a lot of people, and it's for good reason, because people bring their baggage and they dump it on you. And sometimes it's like, what about me? I had to learn, to not dump my baggage and learn how are you? What is going on with you? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's what I had to say. Like I said, the goal was of this show was to, talk about different struggles that I went through and then he went through, just so we can share and have it be a therapeutic moment, so we can, hopefully help somebody else. Somebody might be going through something or some of the same stuff. Who you never know who's gonna watch this, and hopefully somebody is touched by it. I don't know if you have anything else.
No, man. Appreciate. I definitely appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? Allowing me to come through. And it was definitely a moment of, I would say, a brief moment for me to be able to have that outlet. You know what I'm saying? To express, little things about me. But like my man Nikko said, one thing you realize, man, is that, being able to have that outlet, even if it's just one person, don't be afraid to, have that one person to talk to or reach out to. It doesn't, you don't have to, leap multiple hurdles at once. You can take it, step by step, on one hurdle at a time. And then eventually, man, you get to that point where, it's your comfort level at the end of the day. And once you get to that point, don't feel like you got to set a timeline for it. Take as much time as you need. And then because for me, I'm not, like I said, I told Nikko earlier that if y'all, go back and listen to, I'm not seeing a therapist or anything like that, but it's something that I've been, exploring. And it's something that I do feel like, in the near future that I will, take that avenue of going to and seeing the therapist. But, it's at your own time, but just make sure that you have somebody that you can talk to and don't feel like you're alone, because one of the things that we don't want to see happen is you feeling like that you're out here by yourself, nobody else understands what you're going through, and you feeling that you get to that lowest point that you have to take your life. That'll be the last thing that we want to see happen. So we do need to continue to address these issues, have these sit down, have these talks, It has to start somewhere. So, you know what I'm saying? It started with 2 of us today. Maybe tomorrow it'll start with 5. You know what I'm saying? And multiply, continue to multiply, and we can have those conversations. And even, you know what I'm saying, it's not just even with men, but getting a woman's perspective too.
Yeah.
With them coming in and seeing their side, because they chime in and they do have a lot to say too, because, they are the makeup of us. They're our real. So, we want their perspective too. But, appreciate you, Nikko, man, for having me.
No problem. Appreciate you.
Yeah, anytime, you know what I'm saying, we can have this again. Just let me know. Make sure that I do be available for it. But I definitely enjoyed the dialogue, and hopefully, you know what I'm saying, like he said, even if it just touches one person, there's one person enough that, you know what I'm saying, that you need, and then hopefully it'll trickle down. And the next time, again, like, we'll have more minds that could probably sit down and we could, open up the dialogue again.
And the last thing I want to do, and we're going to get out of here because I know this is a long episode, y'all, and I hope and pray that somebody watch this whole thing, because I feel like somebody going to get touched. But keep God in your life. Mm-hmm. Pray and be grateful, because it will humble you, and God will humble you real quick. Mm-hmm. I know I had a couple of humbling experiences, because I'd have been down here from, in college and, just graduating. It's a lot of things that it humbled me real quick. But keep him in your life. Make him be your best friend, because he gonna take care of you. Things might not be exactly the way you want it to go, and I know that firsthand. But just know there's a brighter day ahead. Joy always comes in the morning. Trouble don't last always. So make sure you realize that. And yeah, love on somebody, because you never know who needs it. And also, I want to make a shout out for Pride Month. This is also Pride Month. Shout out to all the LGBTQ plus people. We love you, and peace out. This is the Nikko Show. All right.
Don't be afraid to feel what you feel. Own it, talk about it, heal from it, and press forward with love.